Well, Titus, I really appreciate you hopping on and taking the time to do this, man. How's the holidays been for you now that we're kind of after Christmas here?
It's still crazy, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, my dog is sick, so that's not good.
Oh,
Well, one of my dogs. It's been crazy. Going to the vet all the time. He's like, it's these random things always happen around the holidays
it's
for me.
true. It's true. Yeah. And then are
And
you kind of keeping it pretty chill for like New Year's too then, or you got big plans for that?
to be honest, I don't. I mean, I don't have plans yet for New Year's. I don't really know if I want to be crazy.
Yeah.
Uh, really, because like the theme of this year has not been that for me. Like I've been very uh, just working on my lifestyle and trying to maintain my sanity, my mental health. So
Gotcha. That's a good thing to strive for sure.
yeah, controlling my alcohol consumption is probably a big part of that.
I can hear you there for sure. Yeah, this is the time of the year where that really becomes a thing, right? It's just drinking at like Christmas parties, Christmas, New Year's. It's yeah, I've definitely have had my fair share this so far.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, it's been a crazy year for me, honestly. Um, but I feel like I'm in a good headspace finally.
That's good,
So
man.
I'm actually this is one of the only years where like I'm excited for the new year. I feel like.
Oh, okay, well that's a good thing to look forward to then. Yeah, I was gonna I wanted to ask you too, because I know like I like depending on how much you want to kind of get into it, but I know I was going to ask this year kind of seemed pretty quiet for you because the last, few releases were 2023 there. I was just kind of curious on like yeah, what you were kind of doing, if you were just focusing on music or just taking some time for yourself. So,
Yeah, valid question. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering that.
yeah.
Actually, on that note, I put on this one of my merch hoodies the other day, and I started laughing because at the time I put like it's called a holy shit hoodie. It says, "Hey, have you seen Titus? Because holy shit." And we're referring to like a live show, but now when I look at it, I'm like, damn, people this it kind of hits different now because I've been like MIA for a year. But
Yeah.
it's a little bit of both, to be honest. Like this is we can get more in depth into this, but the gist of it was I really was feeling like super burnt out, I guess, after the last tour, and I was just like going into winter, I was like not having a good year as far as grief went, and I kind of was like I need to get off social media for a while, and then that's how it started. And then I was like, well, I need to move also. So I basically moved my whole life to a different state in
Oh
that
wow.
time while taking a break from social media and working on my like personal relationships. That's another thing that people don't really consider is the amount of like time you spend on social media as a creator, like
Hmm.
producing content can sometimes contribute to that feeling of being like burnt out.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
honestly, I was just sick of it. And I was like, I can't promote anything. I need to just be off social media for a while. And I did that. And I also, was working on I had a chance to really work on the relationships with my family and my now fiance. So that's
Oh,
another,
nice. Congrats.
yeah, another big one. Thank you. For those who don't know and maybe know about my music or the lore of Titus, this is my girl we've been dating for a very long time, and she's the intro on "Sick About You," which
Yeah.
is also, and I can't believe I still say this, but it's that is a real voicemail. Like sometimes I talk to people and they're like, "Oh, who'd you get to record that?" I'm like, I could play that voicemail right now. It's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
only voicemail I have from 2014, and it's that's why I love that song so much because it's every part of it is like very. It's like I went for nostalgia and like I went as far as to actually use like
Yeah,
uh
real authentic too, right?
yeah
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah
not like scripted. Oh yeah, just do this quick.
Yeah, I mean, you see it. You know, this is entertainment, right? Like you see a lot of that, especially on TikTok, and you know, whatever
Oh
words
yeah.
people use. But it's 10 times better when it's like something that means something to you.
Oh, of course.
Because as far as longevity goes, you know, like when I'm 50 or 60, I'm sure I'm going to look back at my catalog and the songs that actually that I wrote about, you know, real events and were things that were really going on in my life will mean the most to me. And yeah, that's kind
Oh,
of
of
how I put
course,
it.
man. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I can kind of get that. Like, how with the tour there that you got off of where after you felt burnt out, like how long was that tour that you did there?
It was like around 5 weeks, 5.5 weeks.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was a lot of
Yeah.
travel and just a lot of like, you know, I already get kind of like I love to travel, but I do get homesick. Like I miss my dog, I miss my girl, and after a while, I'm just like, start to feel like,
Yeah.
you know, you wish you could have like a little 5 day, let's go home and pretend like we're not touring, and then we'll go back, like kind of
Little
thing.
gap, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
How long like does that kick in pretty quick then for you? Or does like missing home in that or
No, not really. I mean, this was towards the end. This was like 3 weeks in.
hmm.
I think um, we were on the West Coast coming back around. So it was I don't know if this was Dallas or Arizona, but I was just like, you know, and also the West Coast is so different too. Like I visit LA a lot, but I just it's so different. Like it's a different speed than
Yeah.
kind of you know growing up in Jersey and New York.
Yeah, for sure. That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's yeah. Well, kudos to you, man, for kind of like I'm sure, yeah, you must have been going through a lot, but realizing you need to take a break from a lot of shit to figure stuff out. I feel like some people, they can do it to the point where maybe it's too late and they've already done some like massive damage or something, right? So,
yeah, yeah, and I also have to remind myself that like I've been making music for a very long time. I've been at this for a very long time, and like a lot of people maybe know me for a lot of the pop punk stuff that I've done, but I've been
yeah.
finding for a very long time, you know, bouncing around genres and stuff. So it was kind of time for me to just be like, I'm gonna catch my breath, and then just because
Yeah.
it starts to affect your when it starts to affect your, I'd say, creativity is when you know, like for example, in any other profession, if you're a doctor and you start, you know, and you're not sleeping a lot because
Hmm.
you're burnt out, you probably shouldn't be doing surgery on people.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so it's been great for my creativity though. You know, I'm working on music again. I started an album before I took this break, and
Oh,
I've like loosely worked on it like throughout the year. So, I mean, there's going to be some stuff happening
sweet.
very
Looking
near.
forward to that.
Yeah,
Because
hell
yeah, I
yeah.
love the last one, man. That last album was awesome. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites actually. I have that vinyl in here somewhere. Someone gifted me this out to Jordan. Someone gifted me this vinyl.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I was honestly it's one of
That's
the best gifts I've ever gotten. I just because I didn't think to do vinyls for it, and I just like
yeah,
it's kind of one of those things that you know if there's a demand maybe like
for sure. Yeah.
and I know there's a market for it. I myself have so many vinyls, but I just wasn't
Yeah.
expecting it. I was like I got so emotional. I was like, damn, this is the
Oh,
only
yeah.
vinyl I
The
own
only
of
one.
my. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
pretty cool though. And yeah, I wanted to kind of get in depth too about like, how you got started and everything. So like you said, you bounced around a lot between genres, right? So what was that kind of, how did that start? Was it kind of, because I know you're influenced by kind of a lot, pop punk stuff, Blink, all that. But then of course, you had the other influence of like R&B, hip hop, stuff like that. So which way did you kind of lean first or?
it depends what you call first, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the long version of this story. So
Sounds good.
I basically I I grew up like you know kind of in a little suburb in Jersey, like outside of you know New York City, and I kind of spent a lot of time with my friends, like skating and, just fucking off basically because, my mom, she worked very hard and my parents were separated. And so, I sought that comfort in my group of friends and, we listened to a lot of music and I grew up listening to, well, this was, not to put an age on myself, but this was like heavily emo, post emo era. So a lot of Blink, a lot of My Chemical.
So like
Green Day,
early 2000s, right?
Like
I
super
get
heavy
it.
Senses Failed, man. Like to this day, I really
Yes.
still him. But like that first album, Depths, it's like still
Oh,
one of my most favorite albums of all time. But yeah.
we must
So
be around the same age. We must be. I'm
I
35. Are
mean,
you around there?
around what?
I'm 35. What are you?
I'm in there.
Okay,
I,
so we're
I'm
around the
in
same
I'm
era.
in the three club, definitely.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so somewhere in there, I was like the last, and not to make an association between genre and recreational activity, but at some point I started to smoke heavily. Like I was like
Yeah.
the last one of my friends to really smoke, and that's because my mom was so strict, like so OD strict, like Christian household. Like I wouldn't
Oh,
think about
okay.
high.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? I could be out,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm out drinking whatever, and I'm like, I've gotten seasoned at hiding these things, but being high is a totally different thing for the first time,
Yeah.
being an adult or whatever. Then I don't know, started listening to a lot of Biggie and classic rap albums, and then I started to freestyle, like basically on like different beats and stuff when we would get high and just hang out. And I was just like, fuck, what if I just like made music, right?
Mm.
Somewhere in that rap fandom, I discovered Wayne. And this was when Wayne was like heavily drank, like sipping codeine, like fucking with auto tune, like
Yeah.
leaking me like 3 records every day on the internet. Just like it was a wild west. Like he was like the greatest rapper of all time at that time.
Yeah.
We'll get back to that. But so I was again, me and my friends, my two friends who are my neighbors, still my friends to the day, just super Wayne fans, and like just we're like trying to emulate that, essentially that feeling. And I just bought like some shitty recording gear, like USB mic. Actually, no, the first time I ever recorded, I had a performance mic that I don't even know how the fuck I did this shit. I like plugged it into like my computer with the 1/4 inch like straight in
Really?
through like an adapter into the
Oh,
aux
okay.
port. Like it was not meant to be set up this way, clearly.
Yeah.
And so I had some like bootleg recording software, and honestly, it made the worst song of my entire life. But to us, it was great.
Oh, of
Fire.
course. Yeah.
10 out of 10. Like, fire.
Yeah.
And he basically made a rap group called Suture Gang and started taking it a little bit more serious. Like we were just having so much fun.
Oh,
So
of course.
this is in high school, and started doing like talent shows in our high school, kind of like unheard of for our specific suburban high school.
Yeah.
So, people caught on pretty quickly. And again, this is before SoundCloud. So like there aren't that many independent rappers who have music videos on YouTube. Promoted those heavily online. I would get in the top comments and like upload our own video with like 20 bot accounts so that we could have the top comment on like a Wiz video or whatever. Swear to God. And it works. Like I woke up one day with like 50,000 views on this, like just like this song we made in my living room, and started to get a little bit of fandom. Did this radio show, North Bergen. Shout out to Real Deal Radio. And he just, after the interview, he was like, yo, like, do you guys want to do Warped Tour? And I was like, how are you going to get us on Warped Tour? This is a rap show. And he made some calls, and basically we like did this like, what do you call it? Hip hop, like I use stage very loosely. It was basically a traveling merch booth.
Oh, okay.
With PA speakers and like performers. But it was on the Warped Tour. So it was like a hip hop showcase. whatever.
Oh, okay.
Again, at this point, I'm 17, 18. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm just like,
Who
we're
cares?
going to
Yeah.
tour. Cool. And it's Warped Tour, right? So it's full circle for me at this point. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, I'm going to see Taking Back Sunday. I'm going to see all these guys.
Yeah.
Went on that tour, made the absolute most of it, like underage drinking, like the works, just doing whatever, like hanging out with like Dave from Sleeping with Sirens, and like all these cool people, these cool bands that were like letting us hang out on stage with them while they performed and stuff. And that was just like, I don't know. I feel like that was one of the moments where I knew I was like, I don't know what to be when I get quote older, but like this is really fun and I want to make this last as long as possible.
Yeah.
And from then we played this venue called Webster Hall in New York a few times, like 250 cap. Sold that out as rappers, right? So we would open for G-Eazy and sell 250 tickets.
Oh, really? Oh my God.
Yeah. I wish to this day, I wish I was around someone who knew what to do with that as far as managing goes, because we were just like, whatever, because at this point I'm getting $2 a ticket for the tickets I'm selling, and I'm selling. I should have been headlining. Whole nother story. Yeah. But yeah, that was kind of like my first introduction into being, I guess, a performer, and kind of just kept rolling from there. I mean, that's really like chapter 1 in my life. Chapter 2, how I would eventually grow from that is we got older, everyone went to college. I wasn't into like the boom bap sound as much, and I wanted to do something more melodic, so I started singing on records a little bit more. I met a producer online who I'm very close friends with to this day, named Miles Williams, and he was making trap beats at the time. Didn't know this kid lived like two towns away from me. I literally met him on I was looking for beats online. Met him at a studio, and turns out we're like, we knew some of the same people or whatever. And he's got his own story, but he's a very talented producer and kind of pushed me to do different types of songs and working on my craft. And that's why I started singing more and learning how to write songs differently, and working with inevitably working with like other rappers from New York and stuff. And he would go on to continue to do that, working eventually with Wayne to get a song on Carter 5. Full circle moment for him really there.
Nice.
And yeah, I did that for a while. I was able to get a song on New York radio with Clue and him and Miles. And at some point I was just I felt like the creative wheel was spinning again, and I was just like, what else can I do? Enter, who's now my fiance, went to, she's very into dance music. So for one of the first shows I went to was an R.L. Brown show. He was a EDM trap producer. Most known, I would say, for his like Chief Keef, Love Sosa remix during that time, SoundCloud.
Oh, okay.
Now. So I started singing and rapping on dance songs, which at the time is like, no one's doing that really. So I saw a window to make a bigger name for myself. And I took that all the way up to working with like guys like Afrojack and, other DJs from Europe. And that was really fun. And some of my close friends to this day are DJs, and I still love that. But at the time COVID hit, I was like about to make a dance album. And I was just like, this is the truth. I would get drunk and we would listen to all of the music that was like fueling our nostalgia. So all the music that I grew up listening to, I was rediscovering it again. I was like, oh my God, I remember like the Click Vibe, remember like All American Rejects, remember all Seos, remember all these bands, and I just fell down that hole so deep that I was like, wait, why don't I just why did I never, how come I never had a band? In that moment I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, how did I get this far? And not form a band or anything. That's when I worked on Lost Valley, the first EP. The same time I reluctantly joined TikTok. And
yeah,
exactly. At that point I was like, fuck it, I have nothing to lose. I'm just gonna put these songs
Yeah.
out there, and I was terrified that people would hate them. But I had nothing to lose, so I was like, at least somebody will hear this, and maybe they'll like something.
Yeah.
And that was like the best decision I made, because it really, some songs like Love Myself really resonated with a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of gave me the push I needed to keep going. So
Yeah. That's awesome, dude.
yeah, that's like the mid slash long version of that story.
Well, I think like that's kind of perfect timing too, right? Like when you decide to do that, because that was like peak of the nostalgia, like you were
Revival.
talking about the revival that has happened, right? Like that was, you were right at the perfect moment for that.
And you know what? I consider myself a spiritual person, albeit not subscribed to one specific religion. I think about that all the time too. I'm like, what made me have that feeling like
Mm.
5, 6 months before all these bands start coming back and everyone's doing reunions and all this shit's happening? I'm like, this was like, it's some part of my timeline glitched where I was just like, hey, like you're about to
Yeah.
be you're about to be very happy in 6 months. Like you should join the fun.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, and I think you did a
Yeah.
really good job too. I really like your voice. Like you can definitely pick up, like just blindly hearing a song, I can tell when it's you. So I think it's cool. Like it's hard because there's a lot of artists that they just sound the same, which
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that. I guess you kind of just imitate artists that you enjoy and it kind of becomes that. But if you have your own sound, that is a big benefit, right? And I think that really benefits you as well.
Appreciate that a lot, because that was something that I always found to be an issue for me throughout my like musical journey, especially in rap, because people would say, "Oh, you sound like this guy, you sound like that guy, you sound too much like this guy," and that's what I was hearing from these A&Rs and stuff, and I was just like, I can't, this is my speaking voice, this is how my
Yeah.
register, I can't help the way I sound, and anything else would not be who I am. So when I approached the rock project, I was like, I'm gonna be what I'm influenced by, because that's how my brain is wired. Like I grew up listening. The framework for how to write a song is in these Blink songs. It's in a lot of the melodies from the rap part of my career came from that, all those
Yeah.
melodies that I learned. And now it's like that. Like I can hear a riff and write a song in 2 minutes. But
Nice.
it's something that I really worked on, because I'm like, I don't want to sound like anyone, but I still, it's hard for me to sound like anyone, because there are a lot of vocalists who are, you have people that's kind of in pop punk singing like this kind of middle register here, like, or rarely you get higher or lower. You have your Kellens, and then like, I would think my voice is deeper than most pop
Yeah.
punk vocalists. So I guess, I learned to lean into that more. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. And I think your voice, like it definitely fits that style too. It seems very authentic. You know what I mean? Especially with the lyrics that you're saying. So it's a real cool vibe.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I say songwriting is still like by far one of my favorite parts of anything that I do. I love writing songs, because I think for me, I approached it in a way that was very selfish in the beginning. I specifically for Lost Valley, I was just trying to make songs that I wanted to hear, and also using the verses of those songs for like my own storytelling, like kind of like a ledger or a journal for myself.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really have an outlet like that, to talk about my feelings, especially in dance music and especially in rap music.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
those emotional songs get overlooked, and I was just like, oh, finally, like I can express a lot of the deeper parts of my soul on a lot of these songs. And songs like Where Will I Go When I Dream, and like Hurt, Love Myself, and especially like on Damned If I Do album. Like there's like the whole second half of that album is sad. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say.
it's because I was going through a lot. Like I was almost done with that, and then like the whole cancer thing happened to my mom, and then like that, she was gone. I was just like, I ignored it for a while. And then
Mm,
it like started to hit me after I released that project and I put Until Next Time out. And then I was just like staying busy with like doing TikToks. Like, oh, gotta get on tour. Okay, gotta promote, gotta put music, da, 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 da. I never really took the time to I never took the time to like talk to someone or process what I was feeling.
gotcha.
And I really regret that to this day. I mean, some good came out of it, but I that's something I really, like, I don't want to get too like deep or dark here, but like
No
when
worries.
you have someone that's in hospice care, like they sometimes will give, like the state or whoever will give like a person, they will assign a person to you who's like there for your mental health and like emotional health and like will want to talk to you and okay, a therapist essentially. And I
Yeah.
was like so stubborn at the time, like no, 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 no. Like literally, I would block the number and I just wouldn't answer it.
Yeah.
And then like, like after that, I was just like, why did I do that? Like I was just running from something that would inevitably hit me. And I like really like, I think on that tour with Tom, like the last one, last October, I just was doing that song like every night. And I was just like, damn, I am not okay.
Yeah. Started to hit, right?
Yeah, yeah, like for real. Like I'm around talking to people at the merch table for 2 hours about it. And I'm just
Mm,
like, like this, so it's double-edged sword, right? Because, like I'm thankful to be able to talk on songs about how I feel. And on the other
yeah.
hand, sometimes it is a way for me to escape talking more in depth about it than just 2 minutes worth of lyrics, 3 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. True enough. Yeah. I don't know. I would say, you know, it's unfortunate something like that happened. Like, I'm very sorry to hear that, man. And
It's
I almost feel like I probably would have done the same thing because, like, you never know what you're gonna do in those situations, right? And especially if something like that's happening, I think it'd be pretty hard to accept that something like that is happening, and you're just like trying to be like, no, no, like there's no, we can't. I definitely can't deal with this. Like, this
yeah,
has to be fake. Like, there's no way. Like, it's interesting how we react to these things, you know?
yeah, yeah.
And then we can look back on it, but I think it was just a natural reaction, right? Like, you can look back on it, but I think, like you said, maybe some came out of it, but also you kind of found this path of realizing you needed to kind of focus on yourself and stuff too, right?
Right. Exactly. And that's kind of, that's one of the things that I took very seriously this year because, I didn't, again, getting so deep. All my conversations, by the way, end up in this pocket. Like like you could talk to me at the bar during New Year's, and at some point,
It gets
someone will
here.
come over and be like, "Damn, what are you guys talking about?" It's like, oh, it's just me. I just talking about trauma, unpacking. But
I think it's good that you can talk about this though. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's good.
yeah. I can't not talk about it. Also, because
Yeah.
I can only talk about things that are, like feeling things you feel deeply about are things that matter a lot to you as to
Yeah.
us as human beings. And I just hard for me to make conversation for so long without talking about things that are like,
Oh, I
either
agree. Yeah.
really make me happy or really make me sad. Like one of the
I
two.
agree with you 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just I don't remember what I was about to say right before that, actually.
Oh, no worries, man. Yeah, no, yeah, kind of. I guess we kind of got lost in a spot there.
Yeah, well, I think I was talking about how all my conversations end up in this pocket, but
Yeah. But no, like, yeah, like you dealing with all that, and then you're just like, yeah, you weren't okay and everything.
I think I was gonna say taking time to nurture the relationships of like the people in my immediate life.
Yeah.
Now I remember what I was gonna say is I think you get to a point in 2024 or 2025 as an artist that if you want to grow your audience, like you have to spend a specific amount of time promoting it, right? Because that's
Yeah.
free and that's what you should be doing. And you can get kind of wrapped up in that and put so much time and effort into things and like to give you a specific example with me, like one of the things I wanted to accomplish with music was, I wanted to set my mom up with like a more comfortable life, right? Because she, as long as I knew her, was always like always pushing, always working hard, always, like just fighting for
Yeah.
her two boys to have like, a normal childhood, so to speak. And I just became so focused on that I spent so much time away from her trying to do that I accomplished I felt like I accomplished the opposite, right? Because
Gotcha.
I'm spending so much time out here to, help our relationship when really I could just go directly to that way, I could do both things at the same time. And so I was just like, all right, well, let me adjust my position with like, people around me, my brother, my girlfriend, my family, my cousins, like my dad.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm happy that I did that this year. And now I'm like feeling the other way. Now I'm just like, all right, I've now neglected without warning, like everyone that was watching or following, the music that I've been making. And honestly, this is the first time I've talked about it. My plan was to come back and explain, so to speak, and present some new things that I've been working on, and I will. But
yeah, for sure.
That's essentially what I've been doing.
Yeah, gotcha, man. Well, yeah, like I appreciate you doing this podcast, especially with all the shit that's been going on. Like,
oh yeah, like I said,
man. Like,
I love a good conversation.
Oh yeah, no, I'm the same way, dude. Yeah, and because like in a way too. Now here's the thing with like social media, like you were saying, you got to do this stuff. It's free. Like, why wouldn't you do it? But at the same time, when you're doing it, let me ask you this question: do you like doing it, or do you just like kind of dread it a little bit? Yeah, exactly.
I do. There's always anyone who tells you they love it 100% is lying to you. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't believe there's a soul, there's a human body that could naturally like being that disconnect from people, right? Because we're all connected. We are, but there is a disconnect between like a comment and a person saying a comment to you at a bus stop, in a grocery store. There's a huge disconnect there. And I think the first time I realized that was like when I was really deep into like posting so many videos every day, and I'll, inevitably I'll check the comments, and there's always some people who are just like, fuck this shit sucks, this shit's booty cheeks, like whatever the fuck they want to get off their chest, they get it off. Yeah. Like every now and then I'll comment on one of those, and I'll be like, I hope you're having like a better day. Like, I'm sorry this song let you down. Like, I don't fight fire with fire. I really don't.
Well, no, I was going to say that's a great response.
And 9 times out of 9 times, that person will respond like, yo, actually, I didn't mean that. Like, I don't know why I said that. Yo, this shit's actually fire. I'm so sorry. I'm like, and like that happened every single day for like 2 years. And I was just like,
really? Oh my God.
For like almost every time. And I was just like, then I started thinking about social media in general. I'm like, why do people do that? And I think the answer that I came to was that people generally want to feel seen and want to feel accepted. And sometimes, like you can feel lost in a sea of comments on an artist that you listen to that you feel like will never see or hear your response. And so people say the wildest, most attention getting thing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It works.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So maybe that's the thought process behind it, and maybe people are just bored. But I feel like most trolls are just want, like, they're just looking for affection.
100%. I had a conversation about this with a buddy, and we were just talking about like he does like country stuff, and it's like, yeah, I get so many comments, just people being like, man, this song fucking sucks, and it's just like, yeah, it's the same shit over and over, and it's like you said, they just want to be seen, right? That's like why, because otherwise, why else would you like do something like that? Like, I don't see the point in it, or you getting anything out of doing something like that.
Yeah, and it's so easy to forget that the two responses are the same thing. Like, it's just because when I don't like something, I don't, unless it's food, honestly, and something can be done about it immediately. Like if I don't like something, I go about my day,
Yeah.
I don't take the time to, open up Yelp or go find your social media and just go, what is this shit? I hate
Yeah.
this shit. That's so much energy. That takes so much time to do that. That like there has to be something there besides like your disdain for it, right? Like there's
Yeah.
got to be some
Totally.
part of you that there's love there in the hate, because otherwise you just
Yeah.
keep going, you just keep swiping or you keep scrolling. It's so easy just to move on.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. I don't know. That's like, I don't know. Social media. Yeah. It like for, an artist, anyone who's doing creative shit, it's good to get yourself out there. But yeah, I hate doing all the tedious things of just like making enough clips for this and the hashtags, and I'm like, fuck,
Yeah. You know what a
it just gets
manager would tell
annoying.
you? Get a manager.
Get a
Hire someone.
manager.
The problem with that response for me is I'm a fucking control freak, and I'll say it.
Yeah.
I'll say it loud and proud
Yeah.
right now. I have to listen to the mixes. I have to tweak everything. I have such a hard time delegating. I don't know why that is, but I do. Unless it's something I physically can't do, like shoot a music video or do a sick
Yeah.
note.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
like I'm so close to I make all of my artworks, like unless it's a
Well,
photo.
there's a satisfaction in that too, right? Especially like depending on how long you've been doing this, the hard work, that's kind of the prize, right? Like you're really proud of yourself. Oh, I did this, I do this myself. And it kind of keeps going until I guess a point where you really can't do it all just by yourself. You need to have some help. But I can get it's hard to let go of something like that when you're the only one doing it for so long, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's something I'm working on. For anyone out there listening who may or may not work with me on any project ever, I'm working on it.
Yeah. And I was gonna ask too, like when you're doing the songs that you've done, I don't know what you got planned in the future, but like when you did that one with Kellen Quinn there, like
Mhm.
was that were you like, oh, there's no way he agreed to this? Or was that a pretty easy thing to kind of get going? Or were you kind of just hoping he'd say yes or
So there had been many years that passed between when I met him on Warped Tour and when I like was adjacent to as an artist
yeah.
make music in the same genre. So starting from Stranger, it's safe to assume. And no, I at no point did I think that was going to be easy. I, in fact, was talking to my then manager at the time about how we were going to plot and do this thing and try to get him on the project, because I was thinking, I'm like, man, I would really like to do a song with him. I don't know how to do that. So I had two songs actually. I had Gorgeous Disaster, which I loved and still love. And then I had Saddest Song. And I was just like, all right, I'm sending both songs. Like let him choose, it's just overwhelming. And I
Yeah.
was just like, I'm just gonna DM him and like I'm just gonna throw a pass because like I need to put music out, and if he's not gonna be on these, I'm just gonna drop him and we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
And he actually was so nice about it. Like he was just like, yeah, dude, I'll do it. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. And I sent him both, and
Yeah, no
he
shit.
was like, I think Gorgeous is a better fit. I moved what is my third verse in that song was my second verse. The rush in, the restart, that was the second verse where his vocals came in.
Yeah.
And then I was just like soup. So then I was like, oh my God, I'll wait forever for this song to come out.
Hmm.
And then he was like, yo, dude, I don't think I can do it anymore. Like management was telling me I need to chill with features for a while. Cause I guess then he was doing a lot of other features at the time.
Yeah, you like every week or every day there's like a song with him on it, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So this was at the very beginning of that. And I was just like, I kind of get
Oh,
it. Like,
okay.
I was like, I kind of get it. Cause I was seeing them come out like, oh, damn. Like, and to be fair, like, Gorgeous was a better sounding song to me. And I'm biased, very biased.
Yeah, of course.
But I was like, damn, but I need a voice in different octave. Like, he would be the perfect other voice for this. So I was really bummed about that. And I was like, damn, all right, well, guess I'm just gonna, you know. And
Go
then
on, yeah.
one day I got an email well, I got a DM that said, check your email. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, it's more news about how, like, we definitely can't do it now. Like, are we doubling down?
Yeah.
Are we doubling down on bad news? So I went and I looked, and it was the stems to his verse on the song, and he did the chorus, like,
Nice.
did the chorus and the bridge. And I was like, oh, it was like I was like, oh my god, like what a beautiful surprise!
What a cool surprise. Yeah.
What a cool surprise! And honestly, it made my whole month. I was like,
Oh, fuck
thank
yeah.
God, because I didn't want to. That was a bucket list thing for me specifically,
Oh,
and a full circle moment for me specifically. It wasn't just like a clout thing. Like I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm not a clout person. I don't like clout people, and I don't do
yeah.
things for clout. I
Yeah.
do things for nostalgia and for like my own personal enjoyment. And I needed,
Yeah.
I needed to get him on a song, and "Gorgeous" is one of my favorite songs to perform for that reason. Still haven't done live with him on stage.
Oh, really? Oh, that'd be so cool.
It would be great one
That'd be
day.
fucking sick. One day, yeah.
One day, shout out to, I don't know where he went. Actually, I used to have a skeleton in here that we bought at a Walmart in North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
Paul and Matt Montgomery soundtrack, and we named him Skeleton Quinn.
Oh, nice.
Every night during that song, we would have him do the verse, like just like I would throw him into the crowd, and he'd be like,
Yeah.
pass. I still have
That's
him 'cause
cool.
It's a giant skeleton. I didn't even put him outside this year because I was like, I can't put him out there in the rain.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so he will probably live in this room.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's sweet,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, that's a
Good
cool
songs.
thing to have happen, like you said, full circle, especially with that stuff. And I know, I think I seen one interview you were saying it's like, a cool collab would be Blink 182. Has that happened yet? You got plans for that one, man?
You know what? I'm counting my blessings on that subject
Fuck.
because I found myself a person who had never seen Blink 182 live. I never had the luxury growing up to see them, all of them. Let me put an asterisk there. All
Ah,
182.
oh,
And I
yes.
was so upset about that one day. And I was just like, actually, I was at a Turnstile show. And I was like, I was telling Paris, I was like, you know what? If Blink ever gets back together, I'm never missing that show. I'll pay whatever it costs.
Oh.
I'm going.
Yep.
And
That was me too. Yeah,
and I
100%.
was like, and honestly, Turnstile is like one of the only bands I could see opening for them. Like as far as like where they're at in their career and like what would make sense, aside from another legacy band,
Yeah.
like directly, next to them. And like 2 months later, they announced it. They announced Tom was rejoining the band. They're getting back together. They're going on tour. Guess who's opening? Turnstile. Bought the tickets immediately. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
auto
100%.
click. Like it was just, and I went Madison Square Garden and saw them. It was amazing.
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was the same with me and my buddy. As soon as I seen that news, I was like, okay, well, as soon as friggin' pre-sale happens, I'm getting them. I don't give a shit what the price is.
Dude, I was like, damn, they got me on this. Normally I'm like, I don't know. But
Yeah.
that time I was like, yeah, just gonna have to shell out the big bucks.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
one of my biggest regrets also is not seeing Linkin Park either. And now I can't do that anymore. In the way that
That's
they were
true.
seen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one for a lot of people if they hadn't seen. Yeah.
I watched so many videos of like the different live shows and different festivals they've done. Like it's just, I just wish I could go back in time and go to one of those shows like this. They were another big influence for me, like segueing into rap music. Like Shinoda, like super.
Oh yeah, true enough. Yeah.
And like what combo was there before them? Rapping and screaming both pretty well, like really fucking well. Songwriting.
Oh yeah, they blended it perfectly.
Loaded.
Yeah.
It was just like it was everything. I was watching like Dragon Ball Z edits to like
yes,
LimeWire, like shit.
Yeah. Fuck, Dragon Ball Z edits. Yeah, I remember watching those.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Shout out to LimeWire.
Hell yeah, man. Jeez. Yeah, I'm curious. with all the music that you've listened to, all the different influences, like, do you have a go-to like comfort artist or band that you can easily just put on anytime?
Many. Uh, it changes. I would say it's like a rotating door.
Mm.
So, um, last year that band was, or not last year, really, it was like in the winter time. It was this band called American Beauty from Jersey. Just
Oh, yeah.
small band from South Jersey. I discovered them on a playlist and I fucking love their last album. Like it's 5 songs and it's just like it's like a little Midwest emo. Aside from that, Take Your Pants Off and Jacket, one of my favorite
Classic.
albums. From Depths of Dreams, Senses Fail, like that. Although that one is, I like that's not one I put on for comfort. Like that was one that I listened to like during times of discomfort
Gotcha.
to kind of like push that emotion
Yeah.
out of my
Yeah,
body.
for sure. Yeah, it's good
And
to have those ones too, just to
hell yeah,
let it out.
dude. But my music I listen to. I'm not, just because I make pop punk music doesn't mean that my taste in music has changed. Like I'm very, very diverse in the things I listen
Yeah.
to. Last year I listened to a shitload of like Noah Kahan. I think
Oh,
that guy
okay.
is a fucking insanely good songwriter. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is. That last album, bro, every song, I'm like, damn, this guy is good. Like he knows how to write. And I respect that. I
Yeah, for
love Kenny
sure.
Hoopla as far as younger artists go. Like he's
Mm. Yeah,
he's
Kenny
a
Hoopla was
chill,
awesome.
very chill dude. I had the pleasure of hanging out with him a few times, and he's
Oh,
like
that's cool. Nice.
we're very similar people, actually.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, very similar misfortunes,
Yeah.
traumas. But yeah, I think he's a dope artist, dope songwriter, and the list goes on as far as like albums I can just throw on.
Yeah. Yeah.
At
That's
any
yeah,
point.
it's yeah, for me it's a lot of nostalgia for sure. I can easily throw on, like you said.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's and I don't like here's okay. Out of curiosity, just because we've pretty much grown up with the same music. What are some albums growing up to you that were just like you would consider the best just going growing up? Like for me, one of them is Louder Now from Taking Back Sunday. To me, that fucking album is just
Okay.
I could like I don't have to skip any song on there.
Okay, so a no skip album
A
for
no skip
me
album, yeah.
was Hybrid Theory. I thought that
Mm,
top to bottom, there's not a song on that album that isn't incredible.
yeah.
That was like, and I was biased because I had that album also. It was like one of the only Linkin Park albums I physically owned that I didn't pirate.
Mm, yeah.
Just nature of the beast. But yeah, I love that album so much. I also had a Story of the Year album. I think it was in Sidewalks.
Oh, Page Avenue?
Yeah, Page Avenue. Page
Yeah, the first one
Avenue.
there.
I
Yeah.
used to run that CD skating all the time.
Yeah, I went through that one a lot too. Oh, fucking love that song. Yeah. Yeah, those guys too. I still love them to this day. They're so great.
Yeah, some of those harmonies are just really good.
And it's crazy to see, like, it really makes you feel old in a way where it's like, oh, it's the 20th anniversary of this album. You're like, dear
Don't
God.
get me started. I thought about that too. I was like, damn, we need new headliners. Like, I mean, there are some, but like, not in the way that I feel like we're out of the headline era. Like, who is going to be playing stadiums in 3 years?
Yeah, it's true.
Because a lot of the people that are doing it were pre Spotify era artists, like, or right there, right at the beginning. Like, you still have the Drakes and the Beyoncés and the Kendricks and the Taylors and the Coldplays and the. But then what?
But who's next coming up?
Who's next, right? Like,
Yeah,
I don't
thing.
feel like, and part of me feels like that's just the way that the industry has broken up into. Like, everyone's attention has been parsed into all these different subgenres and pockets of culture, where it's like you don't have like a central place to get music anymore because there's like 8 nine, 10 different services, and then there's like thousands of millions of hundreds of millions of artists on all those. You could listen to someone so obscure and be their only fan and be their biggest fan, and that's all you listen to. Like there is no like radio control in the same way anymore. Same thing happened with TV. Like half these kids spend most of their time watching Twitch or Kick.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know, or playing gaming, or like, listening to podcasts, or like just like Time Warner doesn't have the same market share they had like 20 years ago because they don't own all the real estate anymore.
Yeah, so exactly.
That's kind of, I guess, what's happening in music. Like, just everything is getting so specific and so subgenre specific.
Well, there's so much music now too, right? Because of all the streaming. Because it's like really, there's no one-hit wonders anymore. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
Like it used to be.
you could have a hit and be gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
That shit that was on viral on TikTok last week.
Yeah.
And you don't even know what happened to that guy anymore.
Yeah.
And then like you could also have one and become, like I think the last one to really go like who's the last artist to really get really far off of, maybe Lil Nas X would be one of them. Just off of like a viral song and like snowballing that into like
kind of kept the momentum going. Yeah, him for sure. I don't know if I can really think of anyone else.
It's hard to name them. Like you remember them in the moment, but like when you really think, you're like, damn, I don't even know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's probably some that we're not thinking about.
Life is crazy.
Yeah, it's wild, man. Yeah, I don't know. Music, it kind of like backtracking what we were talking about earlier, because like with you, when you're writing your lyrics and stuff, I guess even the previous songs, are you kind of pulling from like an experience that you've gone through, or are there any that you're kind of just like, hey, let's go with like this vibe for this song, that not necessarily a personal experience?
95% of the songs are personal experience, and some of them aren't my personal experience.
Okay.
Not afraid to say that I've written songs about like something my friend was going through, like pretty closely, as if I was that person. And I think it takes a little bit of empathy to be able to put yourself in somebody's like emotions.
Yeah,
but yeah, sure. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to write imaginatively.
Yeah,
I can't contrive like a story on a song from nothing, because it will affect the detail that I write with.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, it's just much easier to write from. I've lived a lot of different lives, so
yeah.
I have enough usually to like to write different. I will say I had a thing last year where I was like, damn, I need to write more happy songs, because
isn't that always the thing? That's always the thing, man. It's hard to, you know what? It's a lot harder to write a happy song though.
Dude, it's fucking insane.
It's hard.
I will say that, and then I make 5 songs and I'll be like, damn, all right, the 5 songs I made this week, oh damn, okay, they're all sad. Like this is happy-ish, but it's actually sad.
Yeah. I remember doing that with my band too, where you really you step back and look and you're like, oh, fuck, these are like, we need to have like an upbeat song here.
Yeah.
But it's hard to make one that feels authentic, because if you're writing one of those and it doesn't really feel like you, then you don't want to do it, right? Yeah. It's tough, because that's what I find with those.
Is doing like a song that's, like you said, upbeat. So I always say, in my opinion, like some of my favorite songs are their happy songs. No, sorry. They
like
are
musically
sad songs. They're sad songs that are sang as happy songs.
Gotcha.
So the melody and the music is happy and upbeat, but what they're saying is deeply sad and troubling. And some of the best songs are like that. Like I swear to God, every time I love a song, I'm like, no wonder.
You read the lyrics, yeah,
dude. Like I'll even take one of my, I would say, quote, happier songs, "Sick About You," right? It's a it's an ode to Blink song, but really that song is about missing someone so much that it's destroying you. That's
Yeah.
sad. That's a sad
That's
premise.
a good example. Yeah, that's a good example because that's a really like upbeat song. But yeah, when you when you hear the lyrics, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, so I'll party that song, but it's how do I forget laying in your bedroom everything you said, unscrewing my head that I wouldn't trip, but here I am again being trying not to be sick when I feel like I'm dead. That's not those aren't happy lyrics.
No.
Like that's trouble. But when I get on stage, it's like a party. Like I love that song because I like to dance to that song.
Yeah, I can imagine because when you got to do live shows playing those songs, like how was that experience? Was it pretty like sweet? Like was it because was the reception pretty quick off the go of just like having a shit ton of people at the shows right off the bat with that stuff, or?
It was so I doing the tour with Tom was great because I don't think a lot of his fans were expecting like an outwardly rock, very rock, like high energy punk show right before it's set. And I liked that. So I went out to like the first song in the set is Heaven. Like I would just go out to like the fucking in your face punk song where I'm screaming, and like after that song, people are like, oh shit, all right, like this is what we're getting 40 minutes of this. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And then like by the time we go through all the really deep sad shit and we come back out of it and I end on Sick About You, it's like we've done a full roller coaster of emotion and we're all like having fun, genuinely. Like we've moshed, we've sang, we've laughed, maybe some of us have cried. Like we've at least thought deeply about our own lives. We've talked about self-identity, and then at the end we're just partying. I think it was a really good set list for that audience because when you play for like first time, people like it's hard. You know, you have your favorite songs, and then you have songs you think people will like, and then you have songs you think like they need to hear or that represent you well, or maybe you want to do like the bigger ones, but you don't like those. It's hard to choose a set list, and I feel like I had one that was a good compromise.
Was there any songs that you played that you were kind of surprised by how well the reception was for like one of those songs? Like it did better than what you thought?
Actually, yes.
Because that's always a surprise too, right? You're like, oh shit, I didn't think they'd like that one that much.
Yeah. There's two. One of them was Hurt. And that was like an experimental song. And I wasn't sure how to do that song. I hadn't performed it before. I had like, it starts out like in this register that's kind of hard for me to like just do after running out of breath and like the rhythm of the whole show. And actually was very surprised at how well people responded to that on first listen. And I'd say the other one is Rush, which is a song that was a demo that I was previewing during that tour. Song actually that I had for like 8 months.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, it's like I was like, it's a very high octane song, but it's got like whispering and like ampy vocals in it also.
Okay.
So it's a pop song. A little bit of UK influence. Like Block Party, I would say, is like the influence for that song. And
okay, gotcha. Nice.
It fucking banged. It was the hardest song of the set every single night. And I was just like, I wasn't in a position to just release the song while I was traveling. Like I couldn't like do that for whatever reason. I probably should have, but I just couldn't do it. And I was like, all right, when I get home, I'll do a whole rollout, blah 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 blah. Never dropped it because I didn't like the mix. The live version of it was so fucking good that when I would go to play the record, I'd be like, the energy isn't the same.
Oh, really?
Like, how do I get how it feels to do the song live on a record? So I had to open up the mix, go in these hard tracks, and like fuck around with stuff, the arrangement. I'm just like, I was like not getting the energy that I wanted to translate. So I think definitely in 2025 that will come out. Whether or not it's like a version that I'm going to be happy with. I can't speak to,
Yeah.
but like that I
Yeah.
just like this. It feels wrong to hold on to anything anymore. You know,
That's
like,
fair.
who
Yeah.
cares?
Well, hopefully you can somehow get close to that
Yeah,
and feel
I
pretty
think.
confident with it.
Yeah, yeah. I think worst comes to worst, I'll just do a show and like we'll just only have
Do like a live
the
version.
live version of it. Will be the only version of
Yeah.
it.
That'd be sick. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
And
And I have a
cause yeah, I
song.
think
Sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, I was gonna say cause yeah, like the first song like that I discovered you on was One Last Time.
Mm.
And that fucking song, I still listen to it all the time. I don't know.
Dude,
There's
well,
something
I
about that
appreciate it.
song, man, that is just like easily as soon as it comes on, I have to listen to it.
Here's a fun fact about that song. I went to go write that song, and it took me 2 weeks to come up with the first two lines.
Oh, really?
Yes, because I had already had the instrumentation to the song, and I wanted something that was in your face, and it like I just needed the right thing there. And it sounds so stupid saying it out loud, but I just like I overthought it so much that I was just like just the way like the crashes come in the beginning and like and then there's a pause. I'm like it has to be something that's very me
Mm-hmm.
and that's very like oh you know what I mean, like it just I didn't want it to be I wanted it to be very specific. So yeah,
That's
and then the
true.
rest of the song I wrote like in 2 hours, but
No
it
shit,
flowed
just the
very
first
quickly
two
after
lines.
that. Yeah, yeah, I swear to God, like yeah, I was living in a music house in Edgewater with Miles at the time, and like just I was just like this is during COVID or right after, and just we had like this we had like this converted like I guess it was a living room at the time. It was like one of these floors in this townhome that which had a projector, like we just watch TV on it, like this leather couch that we just sank into. And I would have my laptop. I would like walk around with my laptop, and I just like would always be listening to this song, like the music of the song. And I was just like, damn, I really should write this. And then after I had those two lines, I was like, all right, I'll go down to the studio and just like, and then like always, and I put the harmonies on that, the ride, and I was just like, once I stacked that chorus up, I was like, all right, I love this song now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yeah, that was
I think that's what got me was that intro. That intro is so fucking good to that song. Like it's just like it's not, you know, it's no lead up. It's just like this is what this song is. And you're like,
yeah.
"Oh yeah, I dig it."
So actually, I wrote "Love Myself" right after that,
Mhm.
and then I wrote "Nihilist."
Okay.
So I had three of the songs that would be on that project, but I didn't know which one to put out first. And I was just like, I wanted to put out "Love Myself" first, and he was just like, I don't know, it's like it's the better song of the two in my opinion, but it's very deep. So like I just went with One Last Time. So I was like, all right, this will be a warm them up type of record. And I'll hit him with Love Myself. To my surprise, I put that song on TikTok and I promoted it like 4 or 5 times. Then I did a skit and the skit went super viral. And like
Mhm.
I had so many pre-saves for that snippet. And I was like, oh shit, like this is becoming a lot very quickly for me. Like I went from like having like 500 followers on there to having like 90,000
Oh
or
damn.
like 70,000 in 3 days. Like, and for me that like I didn't, you know, I don't even care about that, but like I'm speaking to like how quickly like there was a demand for something that I thought there would be zero demand for.
Well, yeah, once something gets traction, right? Especially with TikTok, it's just fuck.
Yeah. It just
It's crazy.
rolls and
Yeah.
rolls and rolls. And of course you have, again, haters, you have people who are like, because at this time you have things coming out, MGK, who by the way was on that Warped Tour that I was on. Except
Oh, really?
yeah, he was doing Wild Boy at the time. I don't know if you remember that song.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's crazy.
He was like the big guy. I remember he was like, you know, he would come to the barbecues after and like all the artists,
Yeah.
oh, it's MGK.
It's
He's a
MGK.
big rapper, you know, he's a big rapper. And yeah, so people were like, oh, this sounds like MGK, like people saying this, and this. I'm not just like, just wait, like, just let me at least for the least momentarily, like,
Yeah.
say that I'm someone else, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah,
100%.
I'm grateful for that song. I love that song. That song's fun to do.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
People that know
That'd
it.
that'd be a sick one live. And yeah, before I let you go, out of curiosity, with like when you perform these live shows, so who do you have like doing like the band for you?
Varies. So, and I did a show in New York. I think was the first show I did after Lost Valley came out, and I had a drummer that I went to high school with, who was just like the first guy I thought to call. Like, once I was done with that project, like, hey, you want to play this live with me? He then called this bassist, Paul, sorry, who is sick also, and then Hawk, who is like also producing and helping out produce pop records and hip hop records in the circle with Miles over here, from before that time. Like, I had known
Mm.
Hawk a very long time. He's naturally gifted at a lot of things. He can play guitar. He really knows his tech, and he said, he ran the whole show, so he was doing sound, and he also found the guitarist for that show. I forget who played guitar. It might have been this kid Vinny, who's fucking so sick. But yeah, that was like my sort of band. We would rehearse, and then we played that show, and then that would kind of shift each time I would go. The next tour I did with Arrows. The Arrows tour, who did I play with? I think it was just Hawk and Matt. At a certain point, it was just my sound tech and my drummer and
Oh,
guitarist, on certain dates. So just three piece
oh, okay.
on back end. And part of the reason for that was it just became, touring was new to me. So I also didn't know how much it costs. And I found out very quickly that it would be almost fiscally impossible for me to ever tour with, like, let's say a 5-person band
Oh, really?
at the rate, at the level that I was doing it. Like, I would have to find funding for that. And I just wasn't, I don't know. I was like, I feel like there's maybe a hybrid compromise here, that like I can still go out and see the bands and people that want to hear this live, but also do it in a way that won't kill me, so that I can do it. Right. Because if I don't do it at all because I can't afford it, then everyone suffers. Right?
Yeah.
Like, no one gets to see that except if you live in my hometown or my state or whatever. So yeah, so I made that work. And then the next tour with Tom was even longer, so even more expensive, even more overhead.
Yeah.
So I was just like, all right, Matt, me and you, just me and you, drummer, everything's tracks,
Yeah.
except vocals and drums. And I'm like, fuck it, we're gonna run it, and Hawk's gonna come. We're gonna see how it goes. And to my surprise, it went very well. And I think
Nice.
part of the reason is because I wasn't opening for another band,
Mm.
right? So like, these are, I have Titus fans there, but there are Tom fans there also, and he performed with the DJ also. So he's, they're not like, I'll say, I use the term purist, like, fans who are like, where's your, like, how come you don't have rhythm and lead and like and bass? Like, I was terrified of that. I was like, oh, people are gonna call me poser, they're gonna call me this.
For sure.
I'm like, dude, I just want to sing this music that I put so much time and energy to write to people. And Matt is such a good fucking drummer, and Hawk is such a good sound tech, that like every show was great. A lot of them were great.
I mean, if you had to pick, I would want the drums to be real as well over.
So when you say that, I'm agreeing, because that's the conversation that we had.
Oh yeah.
Like, all right, if things have to go, the absolute thing that cannot go is drums for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to have a live set. I can't. It just won't sound the same unless, it was 10 times as loud in those rooms because of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Threw down. Like, I went extra hard, and so did he. Like, we were all overcompensating. And so for a good show. I'm like really proud of that effort. We had a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's good. That's good stuff. Yeah, I agree with you on that. And yeah, I don't want to keep you too much longer, man. Like I said, I appreciate you doing this, and you know, I enjoy everything you've released, and I'm glad you know had a year of just focusing on yourself.
Yeah,
And I'm excited for what you got in store in the future, man.
hell yeah. I will say now I have a song called Bad Year. That's pretty much about why I decided to
It
disappear.
pretty much explains it all, eh?
Sort of, yeah, in my own way. Nothing's ever that literal with me, but
Yeah.
that's going to be the first song I'm going to drop, and I'll probably do that after the new year.
Oh, sweet, man. That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
And before I let you go, because I know, like, yeah, you've taken a break off socials and that, but anyone listening, you know, wants to check you out or what you're up to, feel free to let them know.
Yeah, you can check me out on Instagram at TITUS XFM. Same thing on TikTok, YouTube, wherever you want to find me, wherever you want to line me. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music. Start with Lost Valley, progress into Damned If I Do, and definitely listen to the singles that came out after that because Rain is a banger. Where Will I Go When I Dream is a heat rock. I love that song.
I love that song.
That's I really went. I don't know, I really leaned into my sense of smell thing there. I was like, I don't
Yeah.
just hardcore shit. But yeah, yeah, more of that this year. Very excited. I definitely have the name of the album that I'm going to drop this year, but I want to get further along before I say what that name is. But it's going to
of
really
course.
tie the first two together pretty nicely.
Nice. Awesome, man. Super excited for that. And yeah, if you're ever up here in Canada, I'm going to keep an eye out. I'll go to freaking one of your shows.
We're in Canada.
Edmonton, Alberta.
Alberta. All right, help me out directionally. Where is Edmonton closer to?
It's closer to BC, which is where Vancouver is.
Okay, West Coast.
Yeah, so just more east from there. It's pretty much the province right beside there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sidebar. While we were on the road, we were trying to name all the hockey teams.
Oh.
All the NHL. Sorry, the NHL teams. I'm sure there's many more, but
yeah.
And so that's like that. That helps me like know where things are in Canada.
Oh, that's fair.
I went to Toronto on that tour and Montreal, but I didn't get a chance to go to Edmonton. And I know there are some people who have been asking me to do that.
Man, Edmonton, they're like the whole pop punk scene, emo scene here is fucking. They're so loyal to anytime, especially nowadays, because you don't get too many artists coming here like there used to be. So as soon as that happens, everyone's hops on it. They love it.
Yeah. Well, shit. Like, let's set something up.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Awesome, man. Well, once again, appreciate it, and yeah, hopefully we chat soon in the future.
Yeah, likewise. Let's make this a regular thing.
I'm down, man. Awesome, buddy. Thanks.
All right. Have a good New Year's.
You too, man.